There's one activity that can help you become more masculine and well-rounded in life, and that is learning and understanding about history and the great men who conquered and suffered so that we today can live a comfortable life. When you learn about history in your own time, by your own choice, where you're not being forced to memorize facts and figures and important information by a teacher who doesn't really care about the subject, you can learn a lot about the story of our human civilization, our conquests, our triumphs, and our struggles and our progress. And because you're doing it by yourself, it's weird. When you're not in a classroom, when you get to do it voluntarily, you put a lot more effort into learning about it than you do when you're actually forced to. You get the opportunity to learn about great and powerful leaders who lead their armies, brave heroes, and men who sacrificed and struggled unimaginable pain, stress, and trauma. That makes even the most serious of our modern problems, seem like a walk in the park. By learning about the struggles and the conquests of these heroes of history, you will learn about some of the most horrific, traumatic situations that these brave men had to suffer through in order to achieve great victories. Once you start learning about what the World War I soldiers had to suffer through in the trenches, what Napoleon's soldiers had to suffer through when trying to conquer Russia in the middle of winter, what Sir Adrian de Weert faced across the 4 wars that he fought in, and so much more. It will give you a real reality check about the challenges that you face today and that you think are insurmountable. By learning more about history, you should believe that the challenges and the struggles that you currently face are minuscule compared to what other people have suffered. It gives you a new perspective on your own personal challenges, and it should inspire you to either start or continue facing your challenges in order to become the best version of yourself. If all of these men could face such horrific, traumatic, awful warfare and come out not only alive but victorious, it can show you what you can do if you continue just moving forward one step at a time and just keep fighting. For example, one of my favorite it's a horrible story, but it's a really good one, all about the World War I battle for Auschwitz Castle in Russia. Now, the German soldiers bombarded the Russian soldiers with a mixture of poisonous gases like chlorine and bromine. This, of course, resulted in all of the Russian soldiers who were defending that fortress facing horrible, horrible gas and dying a terrible death, with the gas literally dissolving their skin, their organs, as they were still alive. Their bodies were literally melting because of it. And as the Russian defensive fell, as all these soldiers fell and died, the Germans marched forward to take the castle, knowing that all the soldiers were dead, so it would be easy. But then something happened that shook the Germans to the core. The Russian soldiers, who the Germans believed were dead, started rising to their feet. It was an attack of the dead men. These Russian soldiers had the appearance of zombies, with their melted skin covered in chemical burns, spitting out, coughing out pieces of their lungs. The Russians began their counterattack, charging forward, killing as many Germans as they possibly could. The terrified Germans retreated as fast as they could move. All of these people who they thought were dead, who they were 100% certain were dead, just stood up. Imagine seeing that. The Russian soldiers were on literal death's door, and they still had the strength to pick themselves up and fight against the enemy. Does that put the challenges that you face into perspective? Imagine trying to explain to one of those soldiers whose face has melted, whose skin is melted, that sometimes you don't like going into work at your 9 to 5, or sometimes you aren't motivated to go to the gym or work on a business because you'd much rather watch a movie. It does give you a real perspective shift in the challenges that you face versus what they faced. And this actually was very helpful for me as well. You can also adopt some of these strategies from some of the greatest strategists of all time. If you learn about Napoleon, Caesar, Sun Tzu, Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan's, all of their war plans and strategies, you can learn and adopt and implement aspects of their strategies into your own life. Now, war plans can become life or business plans. Of course, most of the strategies will be very different because war is very different to anything else. And it will be extremely difficult to relate some of them to your own life. But there are definitely parts of each strategy that could be extremely useful to you, such as Napoleon's and Alexander the Great's incredible ambition. So much so that Alexander the Great started to weep once he learned that there were countless planets in the solar system, and yet he had not even conquered one. He had not even conquered Earth. Now, I made a full video about his ambition to rule the universe, and it's right there. Other war strategies that could help you win in everything in life could be the guerrilla war, the mind strategy, the death ground strategy, or the controlled chaos strategy. And I will do videos on some of those in the future. By adopting some of these strategies into your life, you will have a major advantage. It's like your life was planned by some of the greatest generals in history. Another reason to study history is that you'll become a lot more grateful for the people who fought, suffered inhuman conditions, and died so that we today can live in this comfort. I feel extremely grateful for the soldiers who fought in the D-Day landing and in World War II against the Nazis. I feel grateful for the soldiers who fought in the trenches in World War I. I feel grateful for the soldiers of the British Empire. I feel grateful for the Swiss Guard who fought in a last stand to defend the Pope in 1527. You should feel grateful for all these great men that fought for you, even if indirectly, so that you, their descendants, could enjoy a much better life. Now, it is for all these reasons and more that I decided to start the Heroes of History series. I can learn more about history and all about these great men who suffered and conquered, and then I can teach you all about the soldiers, the heroes, and the armies that you might have never heard about, and also teach you the same strategies and life tips that you can take from these heroes of history and implement into your own life. It's killing two birds with one stone. I've already made a video about Alexander the Great's ambition, and also about the unkillable soldier Sir Adrian de Weerts. And I'll release a new Heroes of History all about St. Patrick's Day on, can you guess which day? On St. Patrick's Day this Friday. So look out for that. Now, a lot of people think that learning about history can be very boring, like going to museums and reading through like 400-page history books, which goes into excruciating detail that you don't really care about. But the best thing is that there's countless different mediums to enjoy. I don't really enjoy reading long books about history or watching documentaries about it. That takes a huge amount of time. However, I do enjoy watching heavy metal and power metal videos and songs all about history from bands like Sabaton, Civil War, Iron Maiden, Manowar, Powerwolf, etc. I also enjoy watching YouTube videos on history and all these heroes of history, so I can understand general details, and then if I find anything interesting, I can dig deeper to find out specific things that I want to find out. So it's all about finding the correct medium for you. It's going to be different. Like, I like listening to songs all about it and watching YouTube videos about it, which are more short and concise and more generalized. However, you might enjoy watching documentaries more, where you get fully immersed in it. It's all very personal anyway, so you'll have to decide how best to watch and learn about history. Or you can just watch my videos on Heroes of History. That's my personal recommendation. So, thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed and learned more about the reasons to learn from history, please click that subscribe button. And if you are interested in the Heroes of History series, you can watch the first episode on the unkillable soldier right here on the screen somewhere. He's an absolute badass who survived multiple gunshots, lost an eye, lost his arm, tore his own fingers off when a doctor refused to amputate them, survived 2 plane crashes, and fought in 4 wars. So if you're interested about hearing the life story about that man, click the video on the screen right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.